feel the icy sting of each raindrop as it crashes on the gravestones of Havenport's seashore cemetery. I stand before the tomb of James Caldwell, my father who sailed an empire adrift. As a sole memento, I have in my hands a worn-out brass compass. There are a lot of questions and a lot of metal in it. This is why Dad Who says the business, the home, or the legacy, can't I say, what went wrong, while the wind howls, bringing the sea salt. The storm has me speechless. Behind me a shadow shifts. My brother-in-law, Nathan Bennett, walks forward, his pricey coat untarnished by the downpour. His grin is as sharp as a blade. Think, Ethan, you should have gotten more. I own the whole damn estate, the business, and the mansion. Where is that little compass? His laugh has the sharpness of glass, which is perfect for a part-time instructor like you. I try to control my temper instead of yelling and pushing him. I gently touch the compass with my thumb and open it, slightly swaying from north to somewhere else, somewhere alive. The needle quivers. Like a pulse, it's drawing me in. Nathan, his haughtiness evident, and I lock eyes. You have no idea what this means. I declare, my voice unwavering, even though my chest is pounding. I have the compass in my hand, and am already heading for my dad's old Ford truck as he turns away, scoffing. The rain makes everything look hazy, but the needle points straight ahead, leading me to a secret place my dad intended me to discover. With the leather squeaking, I climb into the driver's seat and crank the engine. A promise is hinted at by the hum. No matter what happens next, Nathan has no idea what's going on. There is a gloomy path ahead, but I am prepared to walk it. As I drive away from the cemetery, the roar of the Ford's engine fills the air. The compass, which is still shaking on the dashboard, rattles in my hands. With the white clapboard buildings and lobster traps of Havenport glimmering dimly under the storm clouds, the streets of the town are slicked with rain as they blur by. The salty air and untamed surf here were Dad's domain. These harbors were maintained by Caldwell Maritime, his maritime empire. However, I disengaged from everything. The pain of the memories is as acute as the rain that is still on my jacket. When I was a poetry teacher in Boston 2 years ago, I used Whitman and Frost to mold the brains of my students. Suddenly, Dad's heart was giving out, and Mom had to call. I just left my work, gathered all of my belongings, and sped out to Havenport. Even though I justified it by saying it was my responsibility, I really wanted to make things right. We were like ships traveling through fog, my dad and I. He hoped that I would continue the family tradition by leading his business. Teaching, my lifelong goal, was my alternative major. His thunderous voice and my unwavering quietness in every debate served to further isolate us. I had assumed I would have plenty time to dismantle it. My return was marked with a new position as a teacher at Havenport High, where I inhaled the sea air and rebellious spirit of the student body. I graded exams throughout the day and sat at my dad's bedside as he lost strength at night. He would hold my hand tightly, his gaze gentler than I recalled, yet he would say very little. He would whisper, "You're here," and I would nod, hoping that was sufficient. We just had those few moments, as delicate as pebbles on the beach. Now that Dad has left, I'm back in my little apartment, where the only decoration is a picture of the two of us smiling broadly while we were out on his boat. My kitchen table is now adorned with a steady compass needle that points beyond Havenport. Curious about Dad's intentions in leaving me this, I run my fingers down its borders. Had there been a message? Is it for an exam? My conscience keeps telling me that I failed to be the son and leader he had hoped for. "Small-time teacher," resounds Nathan's remarks. Perhaps he is correct. Then I remember Mom Clara and how her sweet smile was the glue that held our family together. My sister Lydia, on the other hand, was torn between being loyal to her husband Nathan and loving us. Mason, her kid, deserves better than this chaos, what with his big eyes and never-ending inquiries. The compass's weight firmly anchors me when I grasp it. My dad gave it to me for a purpose. I can sense it like if a current were pushing me ahead. This is where the path from the graveyard brought me, and I am aware that I must move forward. I will uncover everything my father buried, not for material gain or ego boost, but so I may comprehend the guy I tragically lost. As I enter Mom's house, an old Victorian that overlooks Havenport's water, the compass weighs heavily on my pocket. Even if I can feel the sea breeze and the aroma of her lavender tea in the air, the coldness in my chest won't let me feel it. My father's will is being read today, and I'm getting ready. I don't need a lot of money because school has taught me to be frugal, but I would be grateful for anything that would show my dad got me. Mason is busy drawing ships on a napkin, and Lydia has already arrived, her eyes strained. Like a monarch staking claim to his kingdom, Nathan enters last, his shoes shining and clicking. The attorney starts when Mom gives an unreadable nod. Through the legalese, Dad's voice, or what remains of it, reverberates. Nathan receives 80% of the shares of Caldwell Maritime, which is the beating heart of Havenport. Also belonging to him is the mansion which boasts an Atlantic outlook and a wraparound terrace. Mason and Lydia are able to scrape by thanks to Lydia's small trust money. Where do I stand? Across the table, the attorney slips a little box. The compass, its brass fittings shimmering like a promise, half forgotten, lies within. That's all. Missing letter, no justification. This alone. Nathan reclines, a smile dividing his features. Well, Ethan, it appears that you have inherited the family fortune. Lydia gives him a disapproving glance, but he continues to chuckle anyhow. It suits a guy who'd rather quote poems than make deals, he says. As the compass digs into my hand, I clench my fists. When I want to scream and demand to know why my dad didn't think highly of me, Mom's gentle touch on my arm calms me down. It's what he wanted, she whispers, and I force myself to swallow my pain. After we finish planning Dad's memorial at the waterfront cafe, Nathan confronts me and says, "You thought you'd swoop in, play the good son, and get a piece of the pie." His tone is low and poisonous. Ethan, I worked for this. I maintained the company alive while you were off playing teacher. I say to him, maintaining eye contact and a calm but firm tone in my voice. Money isn't the point here, Nathan. He brushes by me with a sneer and says, "Trust, it's about Dad's trust." That was gone the moment you left. Taking the compass with me, I aim toward the pier. The needle remains still, although my thoughts race. Was I a failure in Dad's eyes? Could this compass be more than meets the eye? Mason hurries forward, holding his sketch pad in his fist. Is that compass magical Uncle Ethan? As I playfully tousle his hair, I feign a grin. Damn it, man. I sense a surge of determination as he scurries away, as if it were attempting to convey a message to me. Nathan is free to keep his empire, but I will discover Dad's true intentions. I intend to pursue this needle to its end after tomorrow's memorial. I know I haven't finished with Dad just yet, as the water lapping at the pilings whispers secrets. As the memorial becomes a haze of casseroles and condolences, the compass in my pocket remains a silent demand. The harbor mist crinkles like ghosts over the docks as the morning breaks gray at Havenport. I go into Dad's beat-up Ford truck, which is choking on gas, and adjust the compass on the steering wheel. Instead of twitching northward, the needle sways westward toward the direction of the town's wild border, where pines meet the sea. Dad seems to be silently riding shotgun with me, even though I have no idea where I'm headed. As you go from asphalt to gravel, and finally dirt, the road gets narrower. As the compass needle remains steady, leading me further into the unknown, I pass by abandoned boatyards and dilapidated lobster traps. A little leather notebook with worn supple pages is discovered in the glove box. Notes on tides, routes, and storms are filled with Dad's handwriting. When I read the entry that says, Havenport's more than a port, I become completely stunned. Our hearts find solace there. Ethan, you'll get it. I feel a knot in my throat. He penned this poem specifically for me. However do you grasp what with the forest encroaching on the road and branches grazing the vehicle I press on? A faint trail is shown by the compass needle, which spins and then locks. Tires crunching, I pursue it until a clearing appears. There is a little cottage made of wood, which is aged yet strong. The windows light up somewhat in the morning light. This feels familiar, even though it's nobody's house. Similar, like a recollection of a past I never experienced. As if to signal, here, the needle immobilizes. I stroll outside into the salty, piney air. With my heart racing, I make my way to the cabin, the words, "You'll understand," echoing from the diary. Where is Dad's secret stash? Is it a precious gem? Is that so I try to ignore the small-time teacher in me that thinks of Nathan with a sneer? He has no bearing on this. This is all about Dad and us. My hand hesitates as it reaches for the doorbell. I feel the compass's warmth in my hand as if it were alive and pushing me along. Whatever is beyond that door, it is precisely what my dad wished I would discover. Breathing in sync with the waves, I set the bell to ring. I stand by prepared to hear the response as the gentle but audible chime resounds. As soon as the cabin door swung wide, Mom Clara appeared, her glistening silver locks reflecting the first light of day. Her smile is kind, yet her eyes are heavier than anything I've ever seen. "Ethan, I had a feeling you would show up," she says, her voice as comforting as the tea she's making. The aroma of cedar and reminiscences fills the cabin as I enter. Even though it's really basic wooden floors, a faded couch, a fireplace, I get the impression that it has been waiting for me. Still resting in my palm, the compass seemed to be beeping its final goodbye. "Mom, what brings you here today? Where is this location anyway?" My voice is harsh as I inquire. A drink is handed to me as she motions for a chair. "Our family's refuge here was your father's and mine. We came here to find quiet when the world got too loud, his work, our fights." I blink astonished. Did Dad, the guy who ran the show in boardrooms and ships, have a hidden retreat? By observing my expression, she gives me a subtle nod. "You had no idea, had you?" That was his preference. Grasping a substantial brown packet, she retrieves it from a drawer. She announces, "This is for you," in a calm but heavy voice. As I open it, my fingers quiver. Included within are a stack of financial paperwork and a note written in Dad's slanted calligraphy. Beginning with the letter, my heart thumps. "Ethan," it starts. "I'm sorry I was so critical of you. You went your own way, and I was too obstinate to appreciate it. The best present was your return for me while I was unwell. My son, you have my utmost proudness." Tears welled up in my eyes, wilting the ink. "Dad." Please, darker the letter changes. After falling for Nathan's charisma, I finally saw through his avarice. He cared more about the business than his family. As I take a quick look at the paperwork, I see that Dad left Mom $10 million before he passed away. I couldn't let him get everything. "Your dad kept this secret so you and Lydia wouldn't find out," Mom says firmly. A live present out of Nathan's reach. He knew you'd protect what matters. With everything coming tumbling down, I lean back. Not his empire, but his heart was the thing that Dad put his faith in me for. This compass wasn't just a decorative item. It led directly to this. Her gaze fixates on me while my mother observes me. "Ethan, what are your plans?" Although I haven't responded just yet, the crackling of the hearth fire reflects the flutter in my breast. While sitting in Dad's chair, Nathan believes he has triumphed. Everything, though, is altered by this cabin and this reality. My determination grows as solid as the rocks as I fold the letter. I feel the rhythm of the waves resonating through the room, and I will not rest until I have ensured Dad's honor is upheld. I drive back to Havenport with the letter and bank paperwork carefully stowed in the glove box, feeling the cabin's warmth in my bones. The sound of Dad's words, "Proud Protect," resounds more than the engine of the Ford. Perched atop the seat, the compass remains still, as if it were now keeping tabs on me. In contrast to the tranquility of the cabin, the sight of the harbor's Caldwell maritime cranes casting a shadow over the docks quickly dispels my reverie. Nathan now in charge of Dad's business, and I can feel it vanishing as quickly as sand through my fingers. While Mason slumbers on Lydia's knee, she waits at home, her face pallid. Under her breath, she murmurs, "Ethan, something's wrong," as if expecting Nathan to storm in. Under the pretense of consulting fees, she shows me bank documents showing how business money went into Nathan's personal accounts, and my stomach turns. "He's been distant," she continues, her voice quivering emotionally. "His life is full with meetings, automobile purchases, and extravagant parties. I'm terrified, Ethan. For Mason, for both of us." I try to reassure her by embracing her and telling her I will fix this, but her worry is just as real as mine. Nathan is careless in addition to being greedy. The next day, I sneak into the storeroom of the firm where dusty old logbooks lie. Then I'm caught by Pete, a weathered dock worker who sailed with Dad. "Heard you're poking around," he says quietly, yet his eyes are kind. "Nathan is draining our resources." I agree. My mouth clenched as I mentioned that we let half the team go and made some dubious arrangements with an international group. "Pete, what does he have in mind?" His voice is quiet as he draws nearer. "Buyers are circling word on the street. Is hell-bent on selling the entire corporation. Was Caldwell Maritime sold the beating core of Havenport, the very essence of households just like Pete's? Now I'm ill." At Nathan's new office, a glass and chrome slap in the face of Dad's utilitarian style. I confront him. With a drink in hand, he's reclining with his feet propped up on the desk. "Please, Ethan, come and beg for a job," sneers him. Keeping my voice calm, I approach. "What Dad created is being destroyed by you." "Nathan, why," he says, "you've got everything." His laughter is icy. "Is that all? I'm taking this business worldwide." "Stuck in your classroom, you wouldn't get it," I say with more force. "And the funds that you are stealing." The firings, he refuses to look at me, but he does wave me away. "Teacher, hurry up. At this point, it is my empire." I bolt, my wrath raging, but I'm no longer defenseless. My weapon is Dad's $10 million, which are concealed with Mom. As he gallops through Havenport, Nathan feels untouchable. And he has no idea that I've seen his game. Workers whose jobs are under jeopardy fill the docks. The compass's weight firmly anchors me as I clutch it. This is about more than simply family. It's about the community and its inhabitants. Nathan has built his throne on deceit, but I will destroy it. I feel like the ocean is rooting for me as it roars outside. As the compass shines in the midday light, I park the Ford near the docks, feeling the harbor's pulse through Havenport. Pete's comments, "Sell the company," pierce my conscience more than Nathan's treachery, stealing money and laying off employees. Caldwell Maritime is more than Dad's legacy. It's the lifeblood of our community, providing jobs and food for hundreds of families. With its docks deserted and its spirit shattered, Havenport will wither if Nathan gives it to an international company. That must not occur. I make my way to the Rusty Anchor, a dive bar frequented by Dad's old gang. Pete sits there worried as he nurses a cup of coffee. "Ethan, are you really going to oppose Nathan?" With a rough voice, he asks. After giving Mom the signal, I took out the bank paperwork. Something to battle with was left to me by Dad. 10 million people. When Pete says, "I want to buy back shares, take control," His expression changes from astonishment to determination. Indeed, you are the son of James. I know certain men, trusted ones, who will support you. Nathan has established enemies. A small group of reliable accountants and foremen who have worked for Dad with many years gather in private, their hands weathered from a life at sea. They bring me evidence the sale of the firm is almost finalized, thanks to Nathan, and the employees of Havenport will be laid off in the process of the multi-billion-dollar settlement. He has been offering stockholders rapid cash as a bribe. This isn't only greed, it's hell on wheels. My heart starts to pound. In an emergency meeting, I explain my plan. I'm going to use Dad's money to acquire enough shares to outvote Nathan. The guys give their approval, but Pete cautions Nathan's slippery Ethan. The compass needle remains firm when I grasp it, and he will fight dirty. Afterwards, we will fight more intelligently. I fight with myself when I'm at home. My domain is classrooms, not boardrooms. I am not a businessman. Taking on Nathan is like putting myself in Dad's shoes, the ones I said I would never wear. However, I am not the focus here. It revolves around the futures of the dock workers, Lydia's dread of Mason, and Mom's calm strength. When I need a lifeline, I contact my mom. "No one is here to help you, Ethan," she advises. "You were believed in by your father. I feel the same way," she said, her words energizing me like a gust of wind. In order to convince the shareholders, the little players that Nathan disregarded to sell to me, I spent days talking with them. Deal after deal eats away at Dad's savings, but the shares add up. Nathan doesn't care, since he's too busy entertaining expensive dinner parties and his ego gets in the way. Lydia warns me via text message that her boyfriend is preparing a major revelation, but her words seem unsteady. The time is running out, and I can feel the beat of the waves pushing me forward. I feel as if the compass is challenging me to trust myself as it lies on my desk needle pointing inward. Nathan believes he has triumphed, but a tempest he cannot escape is on the horizon. As the son of James Caldwell, I am not here today to educate. Rather, I am come for what is rightfully ours. With the birds in the harbor circling as if sensing a storm, the early air in Havenport crackles with tension. The oak table in the Caldwell Maritime boardroom shines beneath the bright lighting as I stand here. Despite having a steadfast compass in my pocket, like a lucky charm, my heart is racing. I put a stop to Nathan's reign today. The shares I've purchased, scrapped together with Dad's secret millions, give me the upper hand as the emergency shareholders meeting I summoned is ready to begin. That's enough to unseat a monarch 2/3 of the corporation. Nathan has no idea what's around the corner. He enters with an air of confidence, his sharp suit standing in sharp contrast to the ragged features of the dock workers who peer out the windows. "This is ridiculous, Ethan." With a sudden outburst, he hurls his briefcase onto the table. "Why are you forcing me to play the hero?" He says, "Go back to your chalkboards," but I look him dead in the eye. "Nathan, please sit down. You're not in charge today." Shareholders in the room start to grumble as they sense the change in atmosphere. As the meeting starts, I state it clearly and coldly. Nathan Bennett has duped this organization. He has used the stolen money to buy automobiles, have parties, and open offshore accounts. Everyone in the room gasped as he admitted to signing bogus documents, which would lead to a disastrous sale for Havenport. Bank records, emails, and evidence from Pete and the team are the materials that I pass over the table. Despite his pale face, Nathan gets back up and slams his fist. "False assertions, Ethan. You are envious because you are a nobody clinging to my crown." My voice is low and deadly as I keep his gaze. "Next, please clarify what happened to the millions that went missing. Outline the plan to sell us out. It's not possible for you." The vote is quick and harsh. Nathan loses his title when my shares are added to the loyalists. I am filled with resolve rather than excitement as the room erupts with his exit. I follow Nathan, feeling the warmth of the compass on my breast as he stutters to his office. He's like a cornered animal, pacing papers everywhere. Is it your belief that this has any impact? He scowls. I intend to take legal action, Ethan. My voice is a serene storm as I get near, threatening to bury you. Nathan, you ruined Dad's legacy. You have dock-specific computers in your home. You ended up with contracts that were destined for Havenport. It's over now. He reaches for the paperwork, but I'm quick on my feet and give him the notice of termination instead. He crumples the page as his hands tremble. I don't understand how you knew. With frantic eyes, he stammers. Without budge, I hunker down. Nathan, you're sloppy. Everyone was able to see it, including Dad's employees who you let go. The town is not for sale. You believed you owned it. He slouches down, dejected, and mutters meaningless threats before grabbing his coat and bolting out the door with a bang like a gunshot. The only sound in the office is the faraway sound of the waves, and I am standing alone. I can feel the compass's weight as if it had borne me through a battle. Even though Nathan has left, the battle has not ended. I am the one who will carry on my father's legacy while Havenport watches. There are people working the docks, and their jobs depend on my decision, so I go to the window. I am prepared to navigate this ship through whatever challenges lie ahead. The horizon is vast. The reverberation of the boardroom dissipates as I return to Havenport's beating heart, the compass chilled in my pocket, its mission accomplished. A rare winter light illuminates the waterfront, yet the triumph over Nathan leaves one feeling empty within. Not at work, but in my own family, his legacy lives on. Like I pull up to Lydia's house, the air is very still, like if a tempest were hiding somewhere. Mason is cuddled up on the couch with her, his sketch pad left behind. Her crimson eyes belie her strong-set jaw, which resembles Mom's. Saying quietly, "I did it, Ethan," she continues. "I served the divorce papers on him." As her remarks hit home, I find myself sitting next to her. While pursuing Dad's business, Nathan betrayed Lydia and pretended to be a caring spouse. Lydia gives me a text message he sent last night during our meeting. "You're going to be sorry for this." I want to scream out, "You're not going anywhere without me," but all she does is shake her head. He is incorrect. Mason mumbles something about ships as Lydia rubs his hair, her resolve shining like a silent fire. "I'm done living his lies," she says. "That's why I'm doing it," she adds. "On behalf of ourselves." Nathan's ruin is finalized before the end of the week. The rumor has it that he invested his stolen money in a fraud with a slick-talking broker who then disappeared. His warnings are as hollow as the wind now that he is bankrupt, indebted, and no longer in Havenport. Soon after creating a little art store near the docks with her portion of Dad's hidden millions, Lydia displays Mason's paintings of boats and birds on the walls. Instead of only surviving, she is creating something entirely new. That night, Mom summons us to the cabin, the rustic retreat where Dad's truth set me free. As Mom, Lydia, Mason, and I sit here, the crackling fire casts shadows over us. Mason's eyes gleam, and his voice rises to a high pitch. "Can I follow in Grandpa's footsteps and become a captain? Uncle Ethan, perhaps an educator such as yourself?" Then I ruffle his hair and chuckle. "Why not both, youngster?" Lydia flashes a smile, her first in weeks, as Mom's glistening eyes meet mine, and I tell her to be patient and keep sketching ships. "Your dad would adore this," she whispers gently. All of us united. Outside, the sound of the waves rustles the cabin's walls. In the warmth, in Mason's giggles, and in the way Mom's grin embraces us fast, I sense Dad here as I gaze at them, my family damaged but entire. We are coming back together more stronger than before after Nathan tore us apart. As a constant reminder of the route that led us back, the compass rests on the table and sparkles in the glow of the fireplace. Now that I know where to go, I don't need the needle. Whatever the future holds, we will confront it united now that we are back home. As I enter Havenport's daybreak, the harbor awakens to the sound of gulls and cranes, and the cabin's light begins to fade. No longer quivering, as if it knows its voyage is over, the compass settles into my jacket. The burden of Dad's legacy. Caldwell Maritime, this town and our family, now rests on me even if Nathan is no longer here and his machinations have been destroyed. Once again, the boardroom is demanding a decision rather than a conflict. In their view, the corporation needs a fresh face at the helm who can bring it full circle. Everyone looks at my dad, James Caldwell the son. The people whose livelihoods depend on these ports unpack containers while I stand at the window and observe. Pete remains steadfast in his belief in me as he barks out commands. Unfortunately, I am not a business tycoon. Signing contracts isn't where my passion lies. It's in the classroom molding the aspirations of children. His letter and the pride he felt in my journey, not his, remain in my mind. The words, "You don't have to be me," that he penned, have the power to liberate me right now. I stand facing the board and speak clearly. You don't elect me president. As your counselor, nevertheless, I will stand up for this business. We need to pick someone who will carry on my dad's legacy. Sarah, who was formerly Dad's operations head and is as dedicated to Havenport as the sea is chosen. She gives Nathan a hard handshake and looks determined to fix what he ruined. I take a step back, a wave of relief enveloping me. Not with me, but with the correct people, the organization is secure. I have a little interest, just enough to keep an eye on Dad's ambition, but my true home is elsewhere. My pupils' essays are building up in the high school, and their futures are as important as the cargo on a ship. At my workstation at home, the compass gleamed in the light from its brass. I am being led to the truth by Dad's heart, not some trinket. Dad left behind more than just the business. What really matters is the love Dad gave us and the faith he had in me. In his perspective, I was always enough. I was never a failure. Nearby is the photograph of the two of us on his boat, beaming in the summer sun. Gesturing toward it, a smile spreads across my face. I understand it now, Dad, I murmur softly. You were my universe. Purposeful humming fills the air outside the port. Mason is being assisted by Mom as they create a mural of waves at Lydia's store. To me, they represent stability and purpose. With the compass gone but the lesson etched deep into my soul, I gather my belongings and get ready for class. Havenport holds a special place in my heart. It is the place where my father's love first took flight. Carrying his pride like a breeze at my back, I stride into the day as the water sings steady and sure. As I go about collecting essays from my students, the classroom is filled with their talk, a disorganized cacophony of voices. Sarah's authority has brought Caldwell Maritime's steady pace to the piers at Havenport, and the bay glistens through the window. A gentle reminder of the tempest I endured, the compass rests in my desk drawer, its brass patinade from my handling. Their lessons persist in the lessons they left me, even if Dad is gone and Nathan is a ghost. Leaning on the desk, I let the realities to settle, while the rhythm of the sea echoes in my mind. Honesty is the first. Neither deceit nor trickery helped me defeat Nathan. The truth, dead, uncompromising truth, ripped his mask off. I armed myself with those bank records and the testimonies of the employees. When you do the right thing, even when it hurts, you'll end up with something more valuable than riches. Because of this, I am able to stand strong in front of my kids and advise them to do the same. Just like the ocean doesn't try to hide its waves, we shouldn't try to either. Plus, my safe haven is my family. The sound of my mom laughing at Lydia's store and the sight of Mason's crayon drawings of his future are priceless. We battled, We shattered, but we rose again, fortified by the bond we shared. Nathan ignored it in his pursuit of power, and now he feels hollow within. Blood is more than a tie. It's a vital lifeline, I've realized. Those that love you are the lifelines when everything else seems to be weighing you down. I was most affected by success. At first, I believed Dad wanted me to take over as head of the family business. Something more, though, was revealed to me by his letter, his pride in my teaching. Being yourself is more important than having a lot of money or a fancy title. Every student I motivate continues Dad's work. I'm a teacher, not a business magnate. Rather of pointing to material prosperity, the compass directed me toward the path I had chosen in life. At last, let us talk about failure. Nathan's fall wasn't a mere accident. He fell into a trap that he had constructed with his own ego and avarice. He had a say in the swindle he pursued and the debts he eventually drowned in. You will lose yourself if you let yourself get distracted from what really counts. As I convey this to my kids, I see their wide eyes as I pray they'll hear it before they have to learn the hard way. In my opinion, deep down inside, each of us is a compass, a voice that whispers directions when we're lost. My path brought me to the power of my family, to Havenport's soul, and to Dad's truth. Gaining comprehension was more important than coming out on top. The love of my father, my town, and my classroom are more valuable to me than any empire ever could be. I stay put while the sea chants outside in perfect harmony as the bell sounds and the children run out. My role has expanded beyond that of James Caldwell's son. All you need is me, Ethan. Regardless of where it may be, take up your compass and follow its direction home.